Hey everyone, what's going on? My name's Live, and in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys the tank build. Now this may not seem very conventional from what you're looking at right now, considering I'm holding a minigun, and miniguns aren't usually recommended for loud heists that are of, notable difficulty. However, I'm going to be showing you guys a build where you can make the minigun good, and also have a powerhouse of a secondary weapon. I should note this does require a little bit of DLC, so you will have to kind of bear in mind with that. It does require the Wolfpack heists from the new Most Wanted DLC bundle. I suppose there's probably alternatives, but that's what I'm using at the minute. But yeah, this is all about dealing out damage, but also being able to take it, not running away, being able to stand there and soak up as many bullets as you can. And it's actually using quite a few skills that I hadn't thought about until more recently that actually work quite well on the minigun. So rather than keep you guys waiting, I'm going to go straight into the skills and I'll talk you through what we've picked up. Looking at the skills, we're very enforcer based, but I just wanted to note very quickly from the mastermind skill tree that we got basic forced friendship and basic stable shot. Increasing weapon stability, having more cable ties and tying hostages faster are just convenient really, there's no other reason to have them. Looking at the enforcer skill tree though, we have got a lot of points invested in both the tank and ammo specialist subtrees. So we've aced the following skills: resilience, transporter, bullseye, Iron Man, fully loaded, extra lead, portable saw and scavenger. Also picked up basic shock and awe. The whole gist of this whole tree of skills is basically getting all the armor skills we can, so Iron Man giving us the ICTV, and also having extra ammo recovery rate, reduced flashbang duration, so stuns from enemies, being able to carry bags faster and throw them further, also regenerating 25 armor per headshot, but only every 2 seconds. Also, because we're focusing on ammo, it's a tank build, we're going to be able to place 2 ammo bags, both containing additional ammunition. Being able to run off our own ammo pickups, not as well with a minigun, it is harder to run off your own ammo with fully loaded aced even, so you may need to use your ammo bags for that. But also, portable saw. Now, normally in a loud build, I will get basic saw massacre, and then not have portable saw at all. However, for this build, I just feel it's useful to have that. You can be the tank guy who people cover because you can saw all the deposit boxes, for instance, and cops won't kill you while you're doing it because your armor's soaking up all the bullets. And on top of that, a scavenger, being able to pick up more ammo boxes because for every 6th enemy you kill, you get an extra box, and on top of that, increased range. Looking in technician, we got basic hardware expert, then we aced steady grip, got basic fire control, aced surefire, got basic lock and load, and aced body expertise. And this is where the interesting skills come in for the minigun, because I hadn't thought about it, but if you actually look, body expertise is also triggered by special weapons fired in automatic fire mode, and obviously a minigun comes into specials, and it is a full auto minigun. I was going to call it an LMG, but it is just a special weapon, full auto. And as such, therefore, you can use it and get the 100% headshot damage multiplier on the bodies as well. On top of that, you can have extra bullets in the magazine, doesn't make much difference, but the minigun can now pierce body armor, and I can also fire it while sprinting. But if I stand still, I'll get the increased weapon accuracy, but regardless, I will get increased accuracy and stability, and that sums up the entire of that sub-tree. And that's why the minigun's powerful on this build, and that's why it kind of comes into play, I suppose, and why it comes into its strengths. But it's just really worth using. Honestly, it's just very, very powerful. Hardware expert just plant drills faster, and they also have the silence reduction. They are just silent. In Ghost, we got the increased movement speed by basic duck and cover and basic parkour. Basic second wind, when your armor breaks, your movement speed is increased by 30%. Extra movement speed when you're a giant tank can be useful, but usually you want to avoid your armor breaking, so it's questionable whether you would actually want to pick up this skill. But then looking in Revenant, we got Ace 9 lives, Ace Swan Song, basic feign death, and basic running from death. So as I've said in every other loud build, Ace 9 lives and Ace Swan Song are just necessities. Feign death, I only got basic, but this was because I realised that I had 3 points in Enforcer put into Saw Massacre here. And honestly, I don't need that. As I said, with normal loud builds, I would, if I was going down the ammo route, I'd get aced scavenger, aced extra lead, basic saw massacre, and that would be enough on its own to get me to fully loaded. However, because I've gone for the saw route here, I didn't need those 3 points there, so I thought, well, I'll put it there. 15% chance to get up if I'm down. Might not make much difference, but it could make that little difference every now and again, so I've got that. And basic running from death. If you are out of minigun ammo or you need to reload, if you die, when you get up, you can reload it a lot faster. That's one of the only downsides about the minigun. The reload time is ridiculously long, so that can help a lot. But yeah, covers the skills really. It's mainly Enforcer Technician based, honestly, but it's mainly Enforcer. It's being able to deal all the damage, but also take it. So let's look very quickly at the weapons that I'm using. So we are using the VULCAN minigun, as you might have guessed at this point. Not with many attachments though. I like it as it is basically. We're getting a team boost though. You could get total ammo if you want. Doesn't make a great deal of difference, but I put a team boost on. And on top of that, we've got the lead combo, because that increases your stability by 8, and that's the most that any gadget can provide. So that's why we picked that up. In the secondary weapon though, this is the little secret hidden powerhouse, and it's the China Puff 40mm grenade launcher. Now again, because this is from the Wolfpack, it's DLC. I am sorry about that, but from using it, it's just an absolute mental killing machine up to Death Wish. On 1 down as well, but I haven't practiced it much on there. So we only got a team boost, and that was it. I actually thought I got something else, but I clearly hadn't. So 100 accuracy, 100 stability, but 1300 damage, which is just ridiculous. There's not really much else to say. The gameplay will speak for itself, but it's a very powerful secondary. I suppose as a backup, what other special weapons could we get? I suppose you could go for the RPG if you wanted to, but ammo pickups are disabled for it. Or you could just carry the sword, full stop. It could be useful against enemies. I suppose in that principle, then, what you might want to do is get rid of basic feign death, and then put the points back into where they were originally on Saw Massacre, so you can actually wear down the blades less when you use them on enemies. If you ace it, you will have even more power against enemies, but you'd have to, get points from somewhere else. So that's something you could possibly go for. But yeah, so that's what I'd use. Because a lot of the grenade launchers are primaries, obviously it's really hard to get a secondary that takes place of the China Puff if you don't have the DLC. But honestly, the Wolfpack is one of the best DLCs from Most Wanted, so if I was recommending you guys to get one, for heists, I get Wolfpack. Honestly, it's very good for both the heists, well, mainly for counterfeit as well as undercover. But for the China Puff itself, it's really, really useful. We're going to be picking up the throwing axe. As I said in my last video, the gunslinger build, I've been practicing with it more, and it's becoming, more of a handy tool to have, so I've been bringing that. However, for a tank, you might also want to bring HEF grenades instead. That could be something you go for, creating mass damage, then being able to plow through with a minigun, or even concussions, stun everyone, and then tear them apart with a minigun. That's up to you, but I'm going to be using the throwing axe just because it's something that I personally prefer to use. As always, electrical brass knuckles. We're going to be bringing ammo bags, the improved combined tactical vest, Vlad armor helmet because it just matches so well, and the anarchist perk deck. I'd said for a while, especially to friends and stuff, that I didn't think this perk deck was as good as everyone was rating it out to be. I suppose the issue really though was just I wasn't used to it. I needed more practice, and the whole concept, for those of you who don't know what Anarchist is, this requires the Sydney character pack, but you guys know, favourite character, so there was no argument there for me. Anarchist basically regenerates armor continuously. Rather than you having to run to cover, wait a few seconds and your armor comes back, no matter what happens, your armor is continuously regenerating. But the thing to know is that the more armor you have in your armor stat, which for me I have 439.4, which is a mental amount of armor, you also take longer to regenerate it, but you do regenerate it in big kind of chunks. So, you can sponge a lot of bullets. That doesn't mean you're invincible, so do keep that in mind. That was kind of my attitude. I was thinking, oh, I'll be able to suck up any bullets, I'll be fine, and then just died instantly. But being strategic is still very important, but you'll see that in the gameplay. But yeah, so the key thing is it converts half of your health into additional amounts of armor. The further up the Anarchist perk that you get, the more armor you actually get. So if you look, you start off with 50% of your health is converted into 110% armor. That becomes 100%, sorry, was the first one. That becomes 110% further up you get, and then 120%. So that's the one that we're looking at rise above. Additionally, dealing damage will grant you 10 armor every 1.5 seconds. So if you deal damage onto a cop, just any cop, any amount of damage, every 1.5 seconds, then each time you'll get 10 armor. Doesn't really, you might not notice it that much, but it does come in handy, and it does stack up after a while. Because if, say, in 15 seconds, you do, you get it every 1.5 seconds, that's 100 armor instantly. And that's nearly a quarter of what we've got. So, it can be useful. So do keep that in mind. And you might not notice it, but it might be helping you, behind the scenes. But that covers it. That's all of the skills and weapons. So let's get straight into the gameplay, and I'll share my final thoughts on the build. The tank build. What might seem like a bit of a gimmick actually seems like a pretty strong build on Death Wish and below. Once again, I question the viability on 1 down, just like I did with the Gunslinger build. I suppose really, armor builds aren't really as, practical for 1 down. It's more about dodge. I don't want to get into a big thing about it like I did last time. I made my points in that. But I'd rather stick to dodge. So for armor, this is Death Wish and below. You could probably try it on 1 down, it might work, give it a go, let me know, but I don't know whether the whole minigun gimmick actually still works on 1 down, whether it makes much difference, so that's something to consider. But from Deathwish and below, tearing up bulldozers, tearing up specials of all sorts, apart from shields, they can still be a problem, but you can deal with those, you know, just by running around them, the classic strategy. But the China Puff in particular is very good against Captain Winters, I've noticed that. So if he spawns in, you need like 4 or 5 China Puff shells, just keep firing them, keep reloading, and he'll die pretty instantly. So, you know, it's handy. It's a very handy thing, and it's also good for clearing out huge areas of cops. So if you don't want to use the HEF grenades and you go safe for what I went for, which was the throwing axe throwable, then you can just use the China Puffs to clear enemies. You don't need grenades. You don't need HEFs. So that's, you know, there's kind of a balance to consider there. But honestly, the strength of it is it's finally a decent solid armor build I've been able to get to work on Deathwish, and I'm quite happy that I've managed to do that. So will I make one for 1 down? Possibly, further down the line with more experience. In terms of the 1 down heists, I'm about halfway through completing them all. I've done quite a lot, but they've all been with the 1 down dodge build, so once I'm more familiar with that and I'm happy with at least one build and completely comfortable, I'll start looking outside to different things and seeing how, for instance, this build works, and, you know, different ways to improve it. I would probably add jokers to it, honestly, and, you know, mix around things. I'd probably get rid of the minigun, get rid of all the body expertise skills, and put those into jokers, and then just have some kind of primary, like an assault rifle or something that can deal out high damage. So either a typical assault rifle like the GUA 3 with a DMR kit attached, or something like the M308. So that's something to consider if you're planning on taking this to 1 down. But other than that, strengths, being able to take a lot of damage and still output a lot. And who doesn't love a minigun? Let's be honest, really. It can be so impractical in Payday, and sometimes you can really think it's so poor and doesn't do much damage. But with these skills, it's more than just a joke. It's actually viable, and that's what I like about it. But honestly, you could just tank the whole heist with the China Puff. I've brought the Saw for a primary on multiple heists, just relied on the China Puff, and been able to get through quite a lot. Yeah, I still down every now and again because I don't have a full auto primary. That is a bit of a downside, but it just shows that a lot within builds, what's important is having strong primaries and strong secondaries. If you have one that's really strong and one that's not so much, builds start to fail, and that's something that I've noticed more recently, especially with making all these videos like highlighting different builds. You need to make sure that both are, you know, good. You can't just say, oh, I've got a strong primary, that'll do all the work, because if that runs out of ammo, you need something to rely on, and if your secondary is the powerhouse, and then that runs out of ammo, you need to go back to your primary. You need to make sure you've got something solid you can rely on, and with this, that's where it really comes into play. The minigun can tear up enemies, it does need to be refilled. Running off ammo pickups is not the most efficient thing, even with fully loaded aced, but, you know, it's a very powerful thing. It's really strong. And then having the China Puff for a backup, clear out a bunch of cops using the China Puff, and then spray any survivors with the minigun. Whole area is cleared, nice and simple. So something to, you know, bear in mind. My final note is that snipers at long distance, if you can time the China Puff and get it just about right, then you can actually get quite good with it. And I am including some footage here of me using this build, and you know how well it went. It was a really interesting build to use, especially with what I chose to do on the bike heist. So trying to reach snipers by aiming it and hitting them worked quite well, but sometimes maybe on undercover you might find the snipers are too far away. Try and hit them with the minigun. If not, get a teammate to do it, or just dodge the bullets. Either way, just, you know, get in cover. But that's the only thing I would note. Snipers you need a bit more care, a bit more planning with. But other than that, it's a very good build, and there isn't the case where there's more downsides to plus sides. So that's why I like it, and it's one that I've used quite a lot alongside the Gunslinger build on Deathwish and below. So I hope it helps you guys. So other than that, thank you guys very much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please feel free to give it a thumbs up. It's much appreciated. Subscribe if you are new, and as always, comment down below any suggestions for builds, solo stealths, any heists, anything like that. Let me know. I respond to every comment where it's necessary, and I always read everything, so that's the key thing. Anything you suggest, I will at least read. So there you go. And I'm always happy for new suggestions because it's new video material. It's more challenges and stuff. I will probably be going down some achievement routes soon, I think, because I've actually got only 2 achievements left to get for Xbox. But I think what I might do is just do a few little showcases of how I got a few of them. So I've got a couple of ideas. I'll see how that goes. But other than that, yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you are new. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one.